All right, 20-sided gamified podcast fans. Very selfishly, I embarrassed myself as I came up to this booth. The main reason I embarrassed myself is because, as you know, I don't interview just anybody. I absolutely love not just Dune, but Dune Imperium. I think it is one of the best games out there right now. And thankfully, Matt here, and by the way, horrendous with names, but I know I got it. Yeah. Matt here from Direwolf Games. He's the marketing director for the company. He's going to kind of walk us through what the game is about, and hopefully he can handle some of my weird curveball kinds of questions. Thank you so much for doing this.
High pressure environment.
So by the way, I'm not going to lie to you. I was saying this to Kelly before. I can't sleep after I play this game.
Your mind is racing.
Yeah, it literally races.
You're like embracing all the possibilities of the universe,
yes.
Walking the golden path.
I think,
got it.
I think it's because there are so many different ways to play this game. That's what does it. And I'm a teacher, so it's like a game with lots of decisions and a lot of different routes that you can go. That is like the thing to have. So, all right, I'm done talking.
Okay.
Talk to us about this game.
Yeah, so Dune Imperium, this is the latest edition, Dune Imperium Uprising, a new standalone expansion that just came out in November. In Dune Imperium, it's a deck builder, worker placement hybrid that takes place in the struggle for Arrakis in the universe of Dune. At the start of the game, you take on the role of one of the leaders of the great houses of the Imperium that have special abilities and some extra incentives that go into the gameplay. The game plays out over a series of 10 rounds that are each determined by a conflict on the surface of Arrakis. These are troops that you'll summon into the battle, and each conflict rewards you with unique resources and victory points and rewards. It's ultimately a game about victory points. The first player to get to 10 victory points triggers endgame, at which point high score wins, and so you often get this sort of free-for-all at the end, where once somebody hits 10, trying to come over the top and get in there for the last-minute victories. As you mentioned, there are lots of ways to acquire those victory points throughout the game, and that's one of the things that I think makes Dune Imperium so sweet. It's fundamentally, you're all competing over the same resources, you're all doing the same things, you have the same tools at your disposal, but it ends up feeling like an asymmetrical game.
Yes, very much
as
so.
You sort of track into different strategies. Like, maybe somebody is here trying to take an alliance with the Fremen and like harness their power to summon sandworms into the conflict. And somebody else will have to decide, am I going to fight you for that Fremen alliance? Or am I going to let you have it?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go work with the Bene Gesserit, or I'm going to fight myself to the Emperor, or I'm going to just keep the spice flowing with the Spacing Guild. There are so many different paths to victory that sort of cobbling together your strategy is always this delicious tension between what's everybody else doing, what's available, how hard do I have to fight to get that thing, and ultimately how well can you predict what your opponent's paths to victory are.
Right.
Because the better you are at understanding what everybody else is trying to do, that's where a lot of the counterplay of the game comes in.
Yeah. How long did it take to develop this game?
So the original Dune Imperium was in development, I would say, for about a year. Okay. We actually sort of first, it sort of first germinated at Gen Con in 2018, maybe? Right. It was definitely a Gen Con. Right. There was some other Dune stuff being announced. We first had those conversations. Right. At Direwolf, we were all big Dune fans to begin with. And the possibility of working within such a great license with such an amazing legacy came up. It was like,
so let me ask you. Yeah. So did you guys, I hope this is a fair question. Did you guys know the movie was coming out before you designed the game?
Yes, the movie had been announced.
Okay, so the movie was announced. Okay, so you kind of got to ride that wave a little bit, you know?
Absolutely. So we actually, one of the things that's really unique about Dune Imperium was really exciting, is it's under license, primarily through Legendary. Legendary Pictures, which makes the movies, but also in collaboration with the Frank Herbert estate. Right. So there's actually stuff in Dune Imperium that's like a lot of the art and character art and concepts are taken from the movies. But there's also stuff that exists in the wider Duneverse that has not been in the movies, or at least not yet. And so it's sort of like a hybrid license that is allowed to take us like the best of all possible worlds and cobble together something really sweet.
You know what I also love about this game is that I love tokens, but I don't love a lot of tokens. Okay. And I'm not gonna hate here on certain companies, but the kinds of companies where you have literally 1,000 tokens on the table. Sure. You guys don't. Like, you have just enough where it's aesthetically pleasing, and the board itself is just beautiful. You know, the product itself is gorgeous.
Yeah, you know, we've got a fantastic art and production team that deals with UX. one of the things we start doing very early in the process is thinking about not just like, how does it look as a piece of art printed on cardboard?
Right.
But what's the experience of it going together in the box? How
Right.
does it feel at the product level? What are the most pleasing sizes?
Yeah.
To be and things like that. So
Do you guys have like focus groups to like talk about that sort of thing? Or are you the focus group itself at the company, you know?
we have a lot of people with very strong opinions.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
play a
As
lot
if,
of
as
board
if a
games.
gamer doesn't, yeah, totally.
So, there's a lot of trial by fire that goes into the development process that
Yeah.
has so far yielded some really great stuff that we've been really proud of.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So how's the con been for you? So again, like for those of you, you already know this, but so, we're here at PAX Unplugged 2023. How's the vibe been? You guys having fun?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody is still kind of finding their feet after a couple of years away during the height of the pandemic.
Right.
And it's so good to be out here with fans, with new fans, with people who are actually looking for another game and got confused and ended up getting our game anyway.
Well, this place is gigantic. It's easy. It's easy for that to happen. You know?
So there's a lot going on here. I don't have any numbers, but I've been told that this is the biggest the show has ever been.
Yeah,
it's really exciting to be a part of it and to sort of be out here with fans in the larger board game community.
Gotcha. All right, cool. So I have one last question. Then what I want is for you to talk a little bit about how the fans of this podcast can kind of find the game, right? Even though it's like in Barnes and Nobles, for God's sake, which is amazing, All right, so here we go. I'm going to put you on the spot, and I don't know if there's a way you have to answer this question or not. All right, so the new movies, do you like them?
So I've seen the first new movie.
Okay.
Nobody has seen the
right.
second
No
movie.
one's seen the second one. Right.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant, and I think it does a really amazing job of capturing the IP in a unique way.
Yeah, definitely.
That doesn't look like other movies and doesn't feel like other movies.
Yeah.
It feels that there's a sort of like there's a weight to it. And a gravity to it. And one of my favorite. There's so much of it that's so good, and I think what's so brilliant and so beautiful about the first movie is the quiet moments, because obviously you remember the sandworms and the thopters crashing and the starter car coming down and all the crazy fight and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's this one shot in particular, and it's like this very slow, long close-up shot of the way a transport landing gear is operating as they're settling down. And I think it makes the universe feel really alive and really coherent.
Real attention to detail.
There's so much passion and there's so much love that I think really comes through there, and it's amazing to be a part of it.
In a really weird way, watching the new movie that came out recently, or I guess sort of recently, it actually kind of made me appreciate the old movie too. You know, with the one with Sting?
Sure.
And it's it's kind of like being on an acid trip watching that movie, but it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was David Lynch, right? Yeah. So, super cool.
But one of the things that I think is a real testament to the strength of the underlying IP is when you can have different visions of the same thing that come together, all of which are beloved, even though they're very different. Yeah. But they all sort of speak to something essential about what's going on there.
I mean, look, I can remember, being on the beach on vacation, reading Dune, for the 80th millionth time again, and just so many lines are so appropriate for today, like the different, points that were being made in the text about geopolitics and all of that. I mean, it's kind of like the dude predicted the future on some level, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
kind of scary.
There's one to the effect of the worst fate that can befall a people is to find themselves a hero.
Yeah.
And I feel maybe not in scope for this podcast.
Yeah, no. Well, look, you're gonna have to come on the big show, clearly. But look, I could talk your ear off. I'm gonna leave it at that. Could you tell people that are watching, listening, how should somebody find you guys online?
So you can always find us at skyrolfdigital.com. The other thing that I will say is just 2 weeks ago, we released Dune Imperium Digital into early access on Steam. So if you want to try it out for yourself, solo mode, play against the AI, play against other players online, that's a fantastic way of doing it. But anything and everything you can get from skyrolfdigital.com would be happy to talk your ear off whenever.
You know what's super sad about this interview? We didn't even get to talk about my other favorite game, which is Root, which I absolutely love. We'll have to save that.
We'll save that for another time.
Yeah, we'll save that for another time. All right, so people, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, totally genuine. You have to play this game, especially if you like that sort of political strategy type game where you really have to think about your decisions. So again, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Have a great show.
All right, people. Peace.